Hey everybody, welcome to the Rochester Press Box. I'm Tariq Spence filling in for Bill Pucko this week. And of course, we bring in a special guest every week. Carl Falk joins us now from Falkin Around. How's it going, Carl?
Doing well, Tariq. Thanks for having me. Always good to be on the show.
Good to have you. Now, where can they catch your show?
So we're where all the cool kids hang out for podcasts. You can catch us on Buzzsprout, Apple, iTunes, all the cool places.
All right. And of course, Pat Duffy. Now, what do we have today here? Are we honoring people from the Rochester area with this jersey today?
Okay, I mean, being from the Rochester area, I'm always honoring people from the Rochester area. But yes, it's the Thomas Bryant jersey. You know, it's NBA draft week, and when Isaiah Stewart lands rock solid where he's going to land, I'll be going out and buying another Rochester NBA jersey at some point in the next couple of weeks.
The perfect Christmas gift, getting ready for the holiday seasons already. All right, one of the things we got to talk about is for the Bills, we'll say for the second segment, we're more than halfway through the season. But the NFL rankings have the Steelers number 1, the Chiefs number 2, Green Bay, and New Orleans, with Baltimore coming into the top 5. Tampa Bay is 6th overall, and the Bills ranked 7. I'll start first with you, Carl. You okay with those 5 rankings of the top 5 teams in the power rankings in the NFL?
I'm not a believer in New Orleans, especially with the Drew Brees situation. Brees being hurt changes their season a little. And I say that because I think it's weird. For once, New Orleans should be a run-based team around Alvin Kamara, and they play very good defense. The secondary's getting better. They've got that pass rush. Brees has been what we've seen lately, 70% completion percentage, but more of a dink and dunk kind of quarterback. If Michael Thomas comes back and all of a sudden Jameis Winston stops turning the ball over, maybe New Orleans does take that step forward. But they're the one team in the top 5 I'm not a believer in.
Pat, do you have anybody in the top 5 you're like, I'm not quite sure?
It's Baltimore, and it's not just because of what happened with New England this past week. Like, Baltimore has taken a serious step back, and I mean, part of it's Lamar Jackson, right? Like, you've been in the league, you got enough time, film on him, you can check him out. But I blame it more on the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. Being a Bills fan, we know Greg Roman very well, former offensive coordinator at Buffalo, and you saw a very similar thing happen when he was here. You didn't have a quarterback that was as talented as Lamar Jackson, but he got very creative with Tyrod Taylor when he started with Rex Ryan. And then, as the his second season started, things started to get less creative. The offense became more predictable, right? So I think that if there's going to be a fix in Baltimore for the rest of the season, if they're going to actually be a legitimate top 5 team, either Greg Roman needs to figure something out, or you need to completely change what you're trying to do with Lamar Jackson.
We still don't know. I think, Carl, you brought up an interesting point with the Saints in the fact that Drew Brees, here's a guy who last year had injury problems. If Teddy Bridgewater doesn't come in, who knows what the season they would have really had. Now he has a collapsed lung and a fractured rib. Is this the end of the year or the end of the career for Drew Brees?
I think it is. I think this year was going to be it anyway. And, you know, as we get older, and look at me, I'm older, I don't recover as quickly. I don't have broken ribs. But then again, I'm not getting smashed to the ground by 330-pound freak athletes like Brees is either. I'll be shocked if Brees is able to come back and be the player he was a couple of years ago, which is what I think they need him to be if they want to beat the best team in the NFC, which in my opinion is the Packers.
For Pat, listen, this is not one of those things where Drew Brees is done and he'll go off into the night. He's got a career after this. He could actually go to NBC and do a broadcast career. So he doesn't need 300-pound defensive linemen landing on him anymore.
But that being said, he hasn't needed it for the last 3.5, 4 seasons, yet he keeps bringing himself back. I mean, he seems like the kind of guy, first of all, he came back from that shoulder injury that nobody thought he was going to come back from. Thank you very much, Dante Culpepper. But, I mean, I just can't see a guy ending a Hall of Fame career the way that he did. I think that if he's done for the season or he's seriously affected for the rest of the season, we might see one more year of Drew Brees back in New Orleans.
Well, the Bills are ranked 7th in the power rankings right now. We'll talk about them, even though they're on their bye week, coming up next on the Rochester Press Box.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Tariq Spence, Carl Falk, and of course Pat Duffy here, Bills segment. All right, Pat, here we go. 7-3 record for the Buffalo Bills. Have you recovered from last week's Hail Mary win by the Cardinals?
Well, it's funny. We talked about this in the break room on Monday morning afterwards. Like, the play is unbelievable, right? And it's hard to digest that happened to us after the way the Bills drove down the field and took the lead. But, like, if this is the worst Bills loss you've ever seen as a Bills fan, you're not a Bills fan. The way they lost that game on Sunday isn't even in my top 10 soul-crushing losses in Bills history. Like, it was such an unbelievable play. As I watched it happen live, my loving, beautiful wife sitting next to me, I wasn't even upset. Like, I mean, I'm upset we lost the game, but I wasn't throwing stuff around. I wasn't screaming. It was, you have your three best defensive players literally blanketing him on every single corner. That pass has to be absolutely perfect. The time of the jump has to be absolutely perfect. And you still had Kyler Murray on the run. Like, you have defensive linemen that are ready to chase him out of bounds. Everything that had to happen, happened. And if you throw that ball 999 times, he doesn't come down with it. He got it the 1 out of 1,000. And what are you going to do? You tip your cap to a guy. Meh.
Carl, if you are Sean McDermott, which I find it interesting, they win, they go to the video of Sean McDermott's speech. I would have loved to know what he would have said to his team after that play. I mean, you're going into the bye week, so that means you've got 2 weeks to think about it.
Well, the one question I want to ask of Sean McDermott is, how do you explain your benefit of your defense getting a timeout, allowing the offense to set that play up? If you remember, Arizona's out of timeouts, 11 seconds left in the game. McDermott, as he always does, once a game calls a defensive timeout to get his guys organized. Well, in this situation, all that did, in my opinion, is give Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury an opportunity to get organized and get a plan, which created the play. If you've seen any of the network speaking, Peter Schrager talked to Kyler Murray, and they talked about the discussion that Kingsbury and Murray had on the sideline previous to that play. That discussion was a benefit because Sean McDermott has to call a defensive timeout when, I don't know what you're getting organized. Everything's the same. Guard the goal line, guard the boundaries. Everything is the same as it's been the entire drive.
Go ahead, Pat.
But I'm saying, I mean, Carl, I understand what you're saying about the timeouts. I'm not a huge fan of McDermott's in-game management either. But if you took that timeout and your best play was throw the ball into the three best defenders of the Buffalo Bills and you're going to brag about it afterwards, I kind of think you're full of crap. I mean, it was just a player making a play.
Well, the play was actually to hit the cross or shallow and get out of bounds to set up the final play. But if that was covered, which it was, let it rip deep down the field to Hopkins. So
either way, it's a moment the Cardinals will take. For the Miami Dolphins, though, are they a real threat, Pat, to this division? I mean, they're 6-3. They changed quarterbacks from a hot quarterback to a younger quarterback. They haven't lost much of a stride.
Well, like, I'll just say this up front. I hate Buffalo, or I hate Rochester, Miami Dolphins fans, because you only become a Dolphins fan in Rochester because you didn't develop a personality and you need people to pay attention to you. But I will say this. The Dolphins are winning in unconventional ways. Look, Kyler Murray looks like he's having a good time out there, and he should. I mean, he's a high draft pick. They've won games on defensive touchdowns. They've won games on special teams touchdowns. They're taking advantage of quarterbacks that may not know how to handle legitimate defenses. I'm not scared of the Dolphins. They're not for real. And over the next couple of weeks, they're going to come back down to earth. They've got a lighter schedule, but there's going to be 2 or 3 games where the Dolphins get exposed, and you go, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Carl, it could be different. The Dolphins win. They, too, would be at 7-3 on the year this Sunday.
Yeah, they're at Denver. Denver's without Drew Lock. That's a win. Then they go to New York to play the Jets. That's like going on a ride at the carnival. You all get to go. Yep. And then they play the Bengals at home. That's 3 wins. All of a sudden, they're 9-3. And, Pat, I got to disagree. Brian Flores is a hell of a coach. And that defense, the addition of Byron Jones has shored up a really good secondary. I think that defense is real, and I think they are a threat.
All right, the Pro Bowl has now started to vote. You're going to have to do that virtually now. Offensively, defensively, Pat, you go first. Which one would you pick?
If I have one offensive player, I mean, Josh Allen obviously playing great. It's got to be Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen is not having the season he's having without Stephon Diggs. He is up in the top 5 of yardage and catches in the NFL. I go with him. And if you have to pick a defensive player to be a Pro Bowler at Buffalo, I mean, it's Trey White again, right? Safeties are playing okay. Trey is getting stuck in zone coverage, which is hurting him a little bit. I can't think of another player. Carl, can you defensively?
No, Trey White was the one guy, and that's more of a reputation vote at this point. I'd maybe throw Cole Beasley in there with Diggs and Allen on offense, having a hell of a year.
Absolutely. Like it or not, coming up next, sir, this is the Rochester Press Box.
Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor. where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falkin Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. I'm Tariq Spence filling in for Bill Pucko. This segment of the Press Box, like it or not, is being brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm. Attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared with less. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. All right, Carl, the bad news came in for high school winter sports. It has been delayed to the top of the new year, January 4th. I know full well for you and everybody else out there that kind of likes to go see high school basketball, hockey, anything else that's winter sports. This is going to be delayed for a while. I'm sure you don't like this.
No, I don't. I understand it, though. You think about the fall. We didn't play football, right? And the football season maybe played in the spring. Football's an outdoor sport. Football is not something that you're worried about inside and all the things that go along with it. And now Corona is spiking, as we all know. So you're going to tell me in January 4th, when they're supposed to start, we're all of a sudden going to bring people inside and play sports? Sadly, I don't see it. And I feel horrible for the young kids who, you know how it was as a kid when you're playing. As you go up through, you build to your senior year. You work to that point, whether you're going to go play on in college or you're done playing, it's still part of growing up. And these kids are being robbed of that, and I feel horrible for them.
Duffy, are you feeling a little bit better that there's at least talk of a vaccine? I mean, I'm not saying that there is one, but there's at least talk and dialogue going forward and hopeful that maybe basketball or hockey can be pushed maybe to the spring and we play all our sports starting in March.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it comes. I mean, look, I'm no scientist, believe it or not, in a skull cap and basketball jersey, but I don't think it comes that quick. But yes, everything has been stressful for everyone to deal with, whether it's sports, whether it's life, whether it's work. The fact that there now looks like there could be a light at the end of the tunnel, I think takes a big weight off my chest. Okay, we're going to get to the end eventually.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It seems as if sports has been affected by the ratings no matter where they are. The Masters, a big plug for CBS. And a big ratings draw, drew the lowest ratings in about 50 years. Pat Duffy, what are your take on this? This is NBA, NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball. Now the Masters has been affected.
Well, I mean, there's three things that might play into it. One, I don't think anybody actually likes Dustin Johnson, so that will hurt you. Two, Sergio Garcia isn't playing because of COVID. That's going to take some viewers away. The competition goes away. But I think the bigger part is the reason we're seeing all of these ratings down, the sports are cannibalizing each other. You have the NHL and NBA playing all day long against each other. Then the NFL joins in. This is the first Masters, if I'm not mistaken, that has ever been played opposite an NFL Sunday, right? And you had amazing games all day long that mattered in this league. People like golf. The Masters are fun, but nothing beats the NFL.
So, Carl, to his point, I agree this 100%. Are we creatures of habit? Are we sort of fall? No, we're not dealing with golf. We only deal with football. We only deal with college football. We only deal with NFL football, and we don't have room for anything else.
Well, I think there's one other element that needs to be said. Tiger Woods was a non-factor. If Tiger's there on Sunday, those ratings flip and they're much better. But you're right, creature of habit. We're in the fall, and it's football time. College football, NFL football, we're going to watch that first. Now, the Masters in the spring signifies the beginning of summer, so we're all jazzed up. Now it was just a good golf tournament to go watch. And, again, I think that the fact that Tiger and Phil and whoever else may be a popular pick, and you mentioned nobody likes Dustin Johnson, maybe if Paulina was getting more airtime, they'd have done better with the ratings.
Yes. How does Wayne Gretzky feel about Dustin Johnson? I guess it's the most important thing that matters right now.
It was a picture of him wearing the caddy uniform with DJs wearing the green jacket. So
I guess he's all in. Unfinished Business is coming up next. You're watching the Rochester Press Box.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one.
This is the Rochester Press Box. Carl Falk, Tariq Spence, and of course Pat Duffy with you. He leads off with unfinished business.
The only thing worse than no hope is false hope. And I think that's what we got earlier this week from the NCAA in regards to March Madness. Because according to them, it's going to happen. And they're going to do all 3.5 weeks in one city. They're trying to get Indianapolis done. There are 4 arenas they say they can host these games. They're going to bring all the schools in, all 68 of them. And they're going to live in the city of Indianapolis until we find a winner. But you got a problem. First of all, as we speak, the Ivy League has already dropped out. And there's going to be other individual teams that don't play college basketball this season. So you're shrinking the D1 pool. Then you have to wonder about money. Who's going to pay for all this stuff, right? There are billionaire owners in the NHL and the NBA, and the league itself makes a fortune that they have no problem spending on their product. The NCAA, notoriously not great about sharing money when it comes to helping or protecting the kids. And if it comes down to the teams, sure, your Dukes, your North Carolinas, your Kansas, they can put kids up for a month in a hotel and do the food and do the virtual learning. Can St. Bonaventure? Can Canisius? Can Butler? There's no way this comes off the way that they're talking about. And there was no reason why you had to make this announcement this week. Take your time. See where the infection rates are going. See how the season is playing. And tell me a month before that this is going to happen. Don't make me believe something that won't, when all I need is hope.
Well, there's a lot of hope in Western New York for a football team, and I'm not talking about the Buffalo Bills. I'm talking about the University of Buffalo Bulls. The Bulls are 3-0 in the MAC, and something about the MAC is really got me excited. The fact that on Tuesday night I could turn on a football game and see 2 teams score a ton of points, it's fun. And if you miss a Tuesday, you can catch it on Wednesday as well. There's nothing better than some midweek action. If you're a college football fan right now, you like a lot of teams locally. Michigan sucks. Syracuse sucks. Penn State's winless. How about flipping over to UB where you can see what Lance Leipold has done? He's got a bunch of guys from Section 5 playing for his team. And Jarrett Patterson, the running back, who you will see play on Sundays next year, he had 300 yards in a game earlier this week. It's a fun watch. Give it a try. It is the best college football program in upstate New York.
Keeping with the theme of hope for Michigan football, I have no hope. I've lost all hope. As a matter of fact, the game 2 weeks ago against Wisconsin is what stole all the hope going forward. Now, Jim Harbaugh is a great football coach, but for his Michigan Wolverines tenure, it's been terrible. I don't need to tell you the story about Ohio State. I don't need to tell you about any team or any season the last few years for Michigan. He's one of the highest paid coaches in college football, and he has not brought the results. And every time I see a play in which the Wolverines are playing terrible or lose a game closely, he has this look on his face of confusion of this can't be happening. It is happening. And it's time for Michigan to move forward. I think Harbaugh will do very well in the NFL moving forward. There's a lot of teams that can use him, the New York Jets. But either way, I think Michigan is done a service by bringing him back. So much enthusiasm, the khaki pants, the way you play football. He went through COVID, so did a number of other teams, but he just hasn't been able to get the wins, especially against Ohio State. I don't care what he does against Rutgers. I don't care what he does against Maryland. I don't care what he does against Ohio State this year. The Jim Harbaugh era is over. That's unfinished business. Of course, Carl Falk, where can they find you on Falkin Around?
Check out Apple iTunes. It's on YouTube. And all the cool kids hang out on those places. Check me out there as well.
Always looking forward to great commentary and a new podcast. Pat Duffy, it's always great to see you in a new jersey. I'd just like to see which jersey you plan on purchasing next from the NBA.
Well, it's going to be Isaiah Stewart. Oh, I got to get one of those new Sabres retro reverse jerseys, too. So I got a lot on my docket. Don't tell my wife. She doesn't watch this show, so everyone be cool.
But then how are you going to get it for Christmas, my friend? I mean, come on. You got to tell Santa Claus or something.
Bro, you know how it goes with wives. I'm going to end up with, like, beard cream or socks or a tie. I handle the good stuff. She gets me something to say that she still loves me.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. If you don't point him in the right direction, you're going to end up with the Sabres jersey you don't want, the tie-dye one.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Yeah, no, you don't like it. So you better tell her what you like, or you're going to end up with that one, just to be sure. It's always great to talk to you, man.
Right back at you, bud.
Thank you for those watching in. Bill Pucko, hopefully speedy recovery. Will be back here on the Rochester Press Box.